כוכבים למעלה זורחים ושערי שמיים פתוחים ותפילה נישאת באוויר להינשא הלילה. הם עומדים מתחת חופה אחת נינומה כשלג ולב נרעד, כל דקה היא נצח וכל מבט נחרט בלב הלילה. ובי את מקודשת, הוא אומר ברגש, ודמעה נשברת בליבה של השמחה. ומלאכי שמיים שרים, שני עולמות נקשרים, בדרך אל האושר באים להינשא הלילה. ומלאכי שמיים שרים, שני עולמות נקשרים, בדרך אל האושר באים להינשא הלילה. והכוס נשברת בהילולה, לא ראיתי לילה כזה נפלא.
وصيرك نفسي هيبة يا هلا عمره حبة يا عمره حبة.
לא ראיתי לילה כזה נפלא, הוא המשמח חתן כלה ומקדש באושר. ארוכה הדרך אל החלום, והלב יודע בזה היום שהיא תהיה לו עזר כנגדו מכאן ועד לנצח. ולי את מקודשת, הוא אומר ברגש, ודמעה נשברת בליבה של השמחה. ומלאכי שמיים שרים, שני עולמות נקשרים, בדרך אל האושר באים להינשא הלילה. ומלאכי שמיים שרים, שני עולמות נקשרים, בדרך אל האושר באים להינשא הלילה. להינשא הלילה.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start now. May I have your attention? Rabbanim Nichbadim, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special evening, a very unique evening. We have here rabbis, leaders, we're going to have also statesmen. So it is a great privilege an honor for all of us here tonight to welcome, pay tribute, and give proper honor to a great leader in this community, a leader who has been active in the community for many decades, a rabbi who combines both scholarship and great qualities. Chief Rabbi HaGaon Hacham Shaul Yaakov Kassin Shalita. What is really the task of a chief rabbi? Chief rabbi is supposed primarily to spread the Torah in the community, to go and talk to synagogues in the community, to try to influence other people, to try to institute classes, shiurim, to elevate the religious standards of the community. Hacham Shaul Kassin has done that par excellence. In the last decade that he's been active, he's gone many times in various different synagogues speaking, including my synagogue. He has led the Sephardic Rabbinical Council for many years, which instituted several takanut in the community, which were for the benefit of the community. There's one question I want to ask, and this is really from the Ramban, Nachmanides. Ramban said, why do we need Sefer Bereshit in the Torah? What do you Sefer Bereshit? Start right away from the Torah is what? Instruction. It's going to tell us the mitzvot, the commandments. So start right away from the spot where the commandments are there. And he says something very interesting. He says, you know, there is a prerequisite to studying the Torah. What is the prerequisite, he said? For Talmid Chacham, first, he has to perfect his midot, his qualities. The reason why we have Sefer Bereshit there, he says, because we have the story of Abraham Avinu, Yaakov Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yosef HaTzadik. We want to learn from their behavior, from their conduct. First, learn how to perfect your midot, your qualities. Then, it's a time to study the Torah. And I think everyone here will agree with me that Hacham Kassin, his humility, his behavior, his care for the others, the way he's been behaving all along is really something very unique. I personally have had many dealings with him, and he's been very comforting, almost like a father. Let me tell you something interesting. I came to the United States in 1956. 1956, over 60 years ago. At that time, there was no Sha'ar Zion in the dome. There was no dome, nothing. It was empty. Sha'ar Zion was praying in a small house over there by Ocean Parkway near Kings Highway. I attended many time services in that particular house. Now, compare that with what's going on today in Sha'ar Zion. You're talking from a small little place to a huge building, from a few, perhaps 100 congregants, to thousands of congregants, to perhaps a couple of classes a week, to dozens of shiurim every single day, daily. What makes that happen? The leaders. The leaders are the ones that make that happen. I remember very well the previous chief rabbi, Hacham Yaakov Kassin, Zichrono Livracha. When I came here, he was 56 years old. So I really interfaced with him for 40 years, almost 40 years. many times giving me counsel and advice. Great man, a great Mikubal, accepted by the whole community. So is Hacham Shaul Qasim, accepted by the entire community. I would like to just finish by telling you a little story which I think is appropriate now, Sukkot actually. This happened during Yom Kippur War. As everyone knows, it was in 1973. It started in Yom Kippur, and it lasted for a couple of weeks, which means that on Sukkot the war was going on. Now on Chol HaMoed Sukkot, there was a Lubavitcher truck, and they had etrogim and lulavim in there. And they actually went into the Sinai Desert where there were soldiers there, asking them to make a beracha. Interesting. I mean, that's really a big risk, but did it. And it was a line, believe it or not. A line of soldiers there waiting to make a beracha. And there was a truck full of ammunition that was driving around, and he saw this line of soldiers there. It was far away. And he said, well, let me take a look what's going on there. There's nobody there. Let me take a look. So he comes down, he parks his truck, which is full of ammunition, of course a little bit away. Then he comes, he asks the people, what's happening here? We are waiting to make a beracha on the lulav and the etrog. Huh? Forget it. Not religious, forget it. He's going back. So one of the Lubavitcher people runs after him and says, hey, listen, what do you lose? Make a beracha. Whether, you know, if it helps or not, you're not losing anything. So he waits his turn. And as soon as he gets there, he takes the lulav and the etrog, he makes the beracha, and all of a sudden, an Egyptian airplane launches a missile and destroys the truck into tiny little pieces. They were only looking for that. They were looking for ammunition. This beracha, one mitzvah, saved his life. One mitzvah. Look what great one mitzvah does. Imagine what a chief rabbi does. Not one mitzvah only. Not for him, not individual, for everybody. You do mitzvot. Push everyone. At all times. Day or night. I have seen Rabbi Kassin at night also. He never refused. Couples go to him, whether it is for counsel, advice, for religious advice, or just plain counsel, they go to him. That was Hacham Qasim. Yeratzon, that, let me add one more thing. There's a pasuk in the Torah, Parashat V'Tchana, Ve'atem Adebekim B'Adonai Elohechem Hayim Kulechem Hayom. Those of you who cling to Hashem, that Hacham Shaul Qasim. Be'ezrat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you Hayim, not only physical Hayim, but spiritual Hayim that you have done for the entire community. But this pasuk really refers to you specifically. Why? Because if you count the numerical value, which I did, for the whole pasuk, it comes out to 981. And Rabbi Shaul Yaakov Qasim is exactly 981. That pasuk refers to you. So Yeratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you long life. And Telechum al-Hayy so they can keep on going. Give us the proper support and the proper advice so that this particular community will keep on advancing and developing. Amen. Ken Yeratzon. Is here a citation that came from Council Member Jumani Williams, and this is specifically for the Hacham. Whereas a great city is only as great as those persons who give exemplary service to their communities, whereas such service, which is truly the lifeblood of the community and the city, so often goes unrecognized and unrewarded, now therefore be it resolved that as a duly elected member of the New York City Council, I recognize that in Chief Rabbi Shaul Yaakov Kassin, we have an outstanding citizen, one who is worthy of the esteem of both our community and the great city of New York. This comes from City Council Jomani Williams. Excellent, very nice. Let's give him, everybody, give him some applause there. Very good, excellent, very nice. I would like to introduce a great rabbi in the community. He's a great eloquent orator, great writer, and an internet teacher. Those of you who have a problem learning Gemara, just go to his website. He explains it beautifully. The entire Shas, from beginning to end. Baruch haba, welcome. Brooklyn Day, Eric Gonzalez. We're looking forward to see you. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. You gave time to us here tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Also, welcome to Malcolm Homer.
Oh, welcome. Welcome.
ברשות הרב הראשי, חכם שאול יעקב קצין, ברשות החזנים, ברשות הרבנים החשובים, all the dignitaries that are here tonight from far and abroad and from locally in our town, in our midst, all the family members that came to pay honor and homage to our great rabbi. Well, I'm not worthy really to be the one to say anything about a chief rabbi. How do you quantify, decades of service to the community? Before I was born, Hakam Shaul already was teaching my father and was in the shul of my grandfather and knew my great-grandfather. So, way before I was even a thought, the rabbi already was well into his career, promoting Torah, mitzvot, and ma'asim tovim. I know my father, may live and be well, cherishes, until today, Hakam Shaul, may live and be well, wrote a book on the Taryag Mitzvot, the light of the law. And he was very humble, the rabbi, in the fact that he signatured and autographed every single copy. And not just, good luck, Hakam Shaul Kassin. He wrote a specific pasuk that had to do with that person that he was referring to. I know my father, he wrote, Hashem Yigvor Ba'adi, Hashem Haslicha Le'olam, Ma'aseh Yadech Al Teref, which is the Pasuk Yosef, my father says at the end of the Amidah. And then he wrote a wonderful, and he did that maybe 1,000 times over, at least. To me, that shows the humility of the Rav, the way not only did he produce a Sefer, but the way he presented it to all the members of our community. And although, of course, he's fluent in many languages, he was very thoughtful to produce that book in English, which was the language that we understood, although that's not his first language. But Baruch Hashem, it's a tremendous, that's one of many, many accomplishments. But far be it for me again to quantify decades of work in a 2-minute, speech. But I will say one word that at least impacts me from what I see, from my perspective, which is a different generation. Tonight we're hosting Aharon HaKohen to the Sukkah. Every night we host another tzaddik to the Sukkah. Tonight, of course, is the great priest Aharon HaKohen. And regarding Aharon HaKohen, there's a few midot, a few character traits that they talk about Aharon. One of them, of course, is Shalom. Aharon was known as a man of peace. Ohev Shalom, Verodef Shalom. Ohev et HaBeriyot u'Kareban HaTorah. Whenever Aharon sensed a little divisiveness or a little friction or some sort of factionalism or some sort of divide amongst the people, right away Aharon sprang into action and would sort of mend it, make peace in his inimitable way that he knew how to do it. Rabbi Elbaz said, what is the job of a chief rabbi? Well, I wouldn't know, but I know from our great rabbi, one of his jobs that he has fulfilled loyally for so many years, and that is to keep shalom in the community like Aharon HaKohen. Listen, it's impossible to have, I don't know how many people, 100,000 people in the community, and everybody should be thinking along the same exact lines and have the same, views on everything. Even in my synagogue, which is only one synagogue, we probably have, at least one view that disagrees with me in the synagogue, maybe even two. But they're not going to be there too long, I guarantee. But nonetheless, because I'm not the chief rabbi, but our great chief rabbi is a master of keeping peace amongst all the factions. When he visits all the synagogues, he makes sure not to leave any of them out, like the rabbi said. He's always speaking about, I've heard this from the Rav many times, that when the Jewish people are united, even if they're worshipping Avodah Zarah, Habor, Asabim, Ephraim, Anachlo, that even if they're misbehaving, but if they're misbehaving together, so God somehow overlooks it. But if they're behaving, but they're not united, then already that causes God to get angry. And the rabbi has preached it, and not only has he preached it, but he's practiced it through his whole life, Baruch Hashem, trying to bring all the different groups in our community together, to serve God. So that's one midah that he has. He's definitely Ohev Shalom, Verodef Shalom, and he loves the people. Ohev et HaBeriyot. So I don't think there's a more appropriate night that we invite Aharon HaKohen, that we have our great rabbi as well. If I could just say one anecdote that I heard from my rabbis, but I think it's appropriate what the rabbi stands for and he's the person who personifies. There was a blacksmith, and the blacksmith was taking his iron hammer and he was banging on the anvil, and of course it was making a loud noise, disturbing the whole neighborhood. Next to that blacksmith, there was a goldsmith. The goldsmith also had an iron hammer, and he was banging on the gold. And the gold was making a very dull sound. So the gold, in this parable, went to the iron and said, I don't understand. How come when you get hit, you make such a loud noise? When I get hit, I make a dull sound. And the iron answered and said, you're getting hit by iron. And you're gold. It's not related to you. I'm getting hit by an iron hammer. That's my brother. When my brother hits me, it hurts much more, and therefore I cry much louder. When iron hits iron, it's much more painful. And the Rabbi, Baruch Hashem, he considers we're from the same cloth. We're from the same metal. And therefore, when he sees mahlok in the community, it's iron hitting iron, and he knows the damage that caused not only in the community, but in the heavens. And therefore, the rabbi, like Aharon HaKohen, is a man of peace, a man of arbitration, a man of shalom. Lastly, if I could say about our great rabbi, if we're talking about Aharon HaKohen, Aharon is a Kohen, and he's known to be Zariz. Zariz are people that act with speed. I don't know if anybody, well, the rabbi, Baruch Hashem, he's getting older, but when the rabbi, God bless him, not too long ago, it'd be very hard to keep up with Acham Shaul walking down the avenue. And even someone that walks 6-7 miles a day, when Acham Shaul is on a mission to get to the synagogue, it is impossible to keep up with him. Not because he's running to do exercise, but he's driven to come to the Beit Knesset. And therefore that motivates him with really superhuman speed based on his age and based on, all things considered. It's really incredible for young guys like us to see the great rabbi. We have excuses. Too cold, it's too hot, we can't go, there's no parking. There's never a time that any of us will ever beat the rabbi to the synagogue. To the rabbi, on time means 10 minutes early. He's always the first one in the synagogue. And Baruch Hashem, his tefillot, you see when he prays the Amidah, he stands at God without moving, like a servant. It's very, very inspiring to just see the rabbi is avodah, his tefillah. And that's, again, a lesson that we can learn from the Rav, is pursuant of peace for all of us, for all members of the community. You know, we have a lulav, and I'll conclude with this. One of the species of the lulav, which is the most underrated, is called arve nahal. It's the arava. And the rabbis do not have too many nice things to say about the arava. Well, they do have a lot of nice things to say about the other species. The arava, they say, is odorless, and it's tasteless, and it really has no value. However, it's somehow the arve nahal made it to the 4 species, and we tie it up with the rest of them. And the rabbis tell us that it's a signal that even the ignoramus, even the one that maybe is a little on the outside, he has a part of the community. And I did some numerics, because I know the rabbi is going to say some numerics also, and I don't want to embarrass myself. If you take the words arve nahal and the word shalom, they're exactly equal. And that's exactly the point of the lulav, that we include all the members of the community, even the arve nahal. But again, you need a binder to do that. It doesn't happen by itself. The arava doesn't become part of the lulav by itself. You need somebody to come and take it and tie it. And that's the Rav. The job of the chief rabbi, in my opinion, is to be the binder, to make the eged between all the members of the community. And Baruch Hashem, he's doing it, he'll continue to do it. He's an inspiration. His zealousness, his alacrity, his speed, his energy, his vivaciousness, his enthusiasm for mitzvot is catching to all of us. And we just wish that he should continue to be an inspiration to all of us, which he is. Although he wouldn't know it. He's so humble that, he's just doing his thing. But those are the people that are most inspiring, that they don't intend to inspire anybody, but they're just going around doing their daily schedule. The rabbi's up at the crack of dawn, and I've been in his house for many meetings. And listen, I will say one thing also. As great as he is a man of peace, but he's a man of the law. And there's certain things that when he feels that are not right for the community, there's nobody louder in that room that's going to stand up against it in order to make sure there's no breaches in things that are Yesodei Hadat. In the principles of the religion, the Acham is unyielding. So he has that balance of Yirah and Ahava. I want to give my humble blessing. Yamim al Yemeh Melech Tosif Shnotav Kemot Dor Vador, that he should continue in good health. I consider myself very fortunate that I have taught Torah to almost every one of his grandchildren. So Baruch Hashem, he's blessed in that sense also. Not that I taught them, but that they're worthy to be taught, that they want to learn, and that's a credit, but that's a separate business. Some people are successful in their communal life, but then in their family life, there was a give and take. So they had to give over here, and they took over here. The Rabbi Baruch Hashem succeeded in both, the communal life and the family life. He gets an A+ in both records, and we wish him well. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this is just a small token of our appreciation for all that the Rab did. The Shkulam Mitzvot Hakam, again, ki bi yirbu yamecha v'yosifu lecha shenot chayim. Amen.
Yamim yirbu yamecha v'yosifu lecha shenot chayim. Yamim melech tasim shnotam b'dor vador. Yamim melech shnotam b'chol dor vador. Yamim melech tasim shnotam b'chol dor vador. Yamim melech. To share in the celebration. It's such a beautiful sukkah, and so thank you, Rabbi Kasim. Thank you for being a man of God and leading and helping lead a community in Brooklyn and elsewhere, because this is what makes this community the best place to live in the United States of America, that we have people from all over the world. For myself, I view my job very simply. I'm a humble servant to the people of Brooklyn, and my job is to make sure that everyone who's here in Brooklyn is free to enjoy their holidays, worship the way they are, feel free, and feel that they're safe to live in this community, that people can also believe in our justice system, that they will be treated with dignity and respect and fairness. And so it's my goal and my mission as I come through and celebrate with all of you and eat the food and celebrate and listen to the beautiful music and just enjoy the culture and the religion, that today you know that your DA cares about the Jewish community here in Brooklyn and will do everything in his power to make sure that all of you are always safe in your community, and that you will always get fundamental fairness from your district attorney, whether someone's accused of a crime or someone's a victim of a crime, because we need to have fairness whether someone's accused or someone has been victimized. So thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I see a lot of familiar faces. I'm not going to go around and say hello to everyone personally, but know that I'm always going to be here to celebrate. I'm going to be here for the good times, but I'm also, very importantly, going to be here if there's any bad times. Thank you.
He always somehow resolves them. Rabbi David Ozei, בבקשה.
Good evening, Rabotai. פותחים בכבוד אכסניה. I want to thank you. This is the first time ever I'm in Casablanca. Okay, it's really beautiful. Okay, I've never been in anything. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Mamash Zekeli Vanbehu. Such a beautiful sukkah. Hazal Waro Tiskela Mitzvot. B'chvod Acham Shaul Katzin, Hashem Yishmilo Ve'ayehu, to the distinguished DA, Gonzalez, please. I parked illegally outside. Go easy on me. Okay. Rabotai, we are here tonight to honor Acham Shaul Katzin. Et Hatai Ani Maskir Alayla. Acham Shaul, how many times over the years I came to your house with problems, problem after problem after problem. I can't count how many times, Rabotai, and Acham Shaul, with his diligence, with his chokhmah, sat there and literally banged away at these problems. Real serious problems. Chab Shimon, remember that night when we were by the rabbi? How many hours we were there to settle this case? And the rabbi, Hashem Yishmeru V'Chayehu, with his siyata d'shmaya, with his help of heaven, he was always there. Just want to say one thing. Not prepared to speak. I'm not going to belabor you with a long speech. I was once walking down the block on East 3rd Street, Acham Shaul's block. I was actually going to his house. When I got close to the house, I was a few doors away, I saw Acham Shaul and his wife, the Rabbanit, Hashem Yishmereha, hovering over something on their porch. I couldn't imagine what they were doing. I got closer and I said, I can't even see what they're playing with over there. I come up the steps, and Acham Shaul is there with his wife, and there's a little bird, a city bird, dying. And Acham Shaul and his wife are attempting to feed the bird. And I said to Acham Shaul, Acham, what are you doing? And he said to me, V'rahamav al kol ma'asav. The bird is hurt. The bird can't fly. The bird can't eat. We have to feed the bird. And the rabbi and his wife, as if they had nothing else to do, were feeding this baby bird. Well, the rabbi takes that V'rahamav al kol ma'asav and not only applies it to a bird, but to the entire community for all these years. When I was a little boy, the early 60s, I was in Magen David Yeshiva. Acham Shaul was a rabbi there. I remember him not only walking fast, but running in the park to gather up all the boys to come back from recess to go back to their learning, to their study. And Acham Shaul has been running ever since. Never stopped running. And for that, Acham Shaul, there are no words. We can never repay you for what you have done for our community over all these decades. Hashem Ya'arich Yamav B'tov U'B'na'im Ad Biyat HaGoel B'mehera B'yameinu Amen.
ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים כמה עולה בבריאה.
I would like to pay special attention to our next speaker. Great man. He's the right arm of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. He is, of course, the Minister of Communications. The Prime Minister has tremendous trust in him. Whenever there is a problem with a foreign country, he's the one that he sends in order to somehow make the relations a little smoother. So I have the pleasure to introduce Minister Ayub Ara to address us today. Thank you very much for coming. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, brother.
أهلا وسهلا.
ברשות הרבנים והרב קסים בראשם, לכבוד בעל האכסניה, חברי הטוב, ז'ק. האמת היא שרציתי מאוד שראש הממשלה יהיה הפעם, אבל הבקשה הייתה מאוחרת, וצריך אנשי ביטחון שיבואו לפני כן, הרבה זמן. ולכן התנצל, ואני מתנצל בשמו, הוא ביקש ממני להתנצל מהקהילה החשובה החלבית, ומאוד חשוב לי היה להיות לידך פה הערב, אני גם כשר בממשלת ישראל וגם כמקורב של ראש הממשלה ואחראי על כל מה שקורה בעולם הערבי. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored, with much proud, I come to be part in this event as the Minister of the Government of Israel. I am a Druze from the Druze nation, but I feel Jew more than any Jew in all the world. This is the truth. This is my life and my direction. I do a lot for my state Israel, around our borders. I do a lot for all the Jewish nations in all the states around Israel. I am very happy that we successful to bring most of the Jewish nation in Syria. Last woman was from Khalab. I bring him. I'm do a lot for that. It was very dangerous, before 2 years, but I'm successful. People that visit you, my friend, my brother Jack, did not know. I was one of the famous officers in the army of Israel, in the military. I was one of the leaders that lead the war in Lebanon in 1982. And I lose my two brothers in this war. I was injured from Beirut, but my God gave me all the power, and I become back as I found myself alone. In this tragedy, I lose my parents, but Baruch Hashem, הקמתי משפחה, and I have now 6 children again. In the same direction was with my father. My grandfather was one of the leaders before the independence of Israel in the government of the Jewish public in 1930. In 1939, he lost his son, another son in 1947, and then my father injured again in the war to occupy the Galil, and he was also alone. I'm the same thing, the same movie happening with me, but אני מלא אמונה שזה מה שציווה לנו יתרו, חותן משה שאנחנו מאמינים בו, לשמור את ארץ ישראל לעם ישראל. זה מה שאנחנו מאמינים, ככה אנחנו פועלים וככה נעשה בעזרת השם. אני רוצה, I come from the United Nations. I was with the Prime Minister in an important speech today. It was a great speech around Israel, around the Middle East, and I think it was a very successful speech. I think from days to days, people understand what is necessary for Israel. Israel part from the west side, from the freedom board, and of course every day that we crossing in Israel, the people and different states become and support Israel. It is not happening in the past. It's in news and everywhere, in Africa, in South America, and everywhere. People more and more understand what is necessary for Israel, and more. We met last night President Sisi. I was with the Prime Minister Netanyahu in this meeting. It's very discreet. We could not say much around this meeting, but I want to say that's God with us in everything. Because also President Sisi, he so much give last night respect for the Prime Minister Netanyahu. I don't found it in the past. Suddenly, all the leadership in the Middle East that against the terror, against the extremism, all of them support Prime Minister Netanyahu, support Israel. This is Rav Kassin, אתם מברכים, אלוהים נותן. ככה זה קורה, וזה באמת, אנחנו מרגישים את זה בתקופה האחרונה. יש נהירה לעזור לנו בישראל מכל העולם. Going to be important plans from President Trump in 2 months or 4 months, we will not know. Maybe this could be important plan for the Middle East, maybe not. But President Trump, I'm sure, with us in every direction that we move.
District Attorney Gonzalez
Jack, thank you so much. This is a beautiful sukkah, and Ezra, thank you so much for this important invitation. I just want to say to everybody at this time of year, we should be thankful for what we have, but we also have to be mindful about what we yet have to achieve. And one only has to go to Israel, as I did recently, to see the tremendous economic opportunity that Israel gives around the world. And I say this as controller because I don't think people fully appreciate the tremendous contribution Israel makes to our planet. And part of what we have to do is defend her and protect her, and part of why we meet together is to reaffirm that mission. And I just wanted to say to you tonight, it is great to be in Brooklyn. As controller, I have all the money in the bank. I keep it in the vault. The pension checks are going out on time, and I always watch the mayor. That's my job, okay? And it's always great to be here with all of you. So, Jack, thank you so much, and God bless all of you, and God bless Israel. Thank you.
Even shorter than Rabbi Ozeri. With all of this distinguished people here, I don't have a lot to say. Gonzalez, you were great. I remember a few months ago at the graduation. This was great. I want you back this year. In Chod Rabbi Kassin, it's really, I have to say, it's hard to come out here tonight to have about 5 or 6 other things that I have to be there. But this was the most important because I have the privilege of being with the rabbi every single day in the synagogue. And I can tell you that the community is blessed because Rabbi Kassin is with us every single day. Every day he is with us, it's a blessing to our community. And the reason is that Rabbi Kassin has a way about him that's very real. Rabbi Kassin doesn't just talk. In fact, he doesn't talk a lot. But his actions are so much greater than anything else that he does. I'll give you one thing. I can never, every Sukkot that comes around, it's a great holiday for it, the rabbi gets up, most rabbis, they get up before Arbit, after Arbit, right before the Sukkah, they get up and they say, Rabotai, go sit in the Sukkah, make berachot, make sure you say She'achiyanu, and so on, makes announcements. The rabbi gets up every single Sukkot, every single Pesach, and literally almost crying, describing the great happiness that we should all have together in the Sukkah, how we should be so close to Hashem, and you could see the feelings of the Sukkah in his heart. It's not those words. These are images that myself and thousands of people will never, ever, ever forget, and these are the reasons why we have a beracha in our community. And it's something that I know from his grandchildren. I know they stay up all night when it comes to the Seder, and I know it's real. You know, sometimes you see people who live according to the job. But the rabbi is not like that. Rabbi Kassin is a real person who has a beautiful family, beautiful children, beautiful grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I think his last grandchild is getting married in a few weeks from now. Mazal Tov. Be'ezrat Hashem. You should have many, many, many years of success, of happiness with the community. Every day you're with us, it's a beracha for us. We thank the rabbi. There's no end to how much we have to thank him and for his family. May Hashem give him long life and arichut yamim. Amen ve'amen. Amen. And also thank you very much, Jack. Where are you? Jack, thank you for having us and this beautiful sukkah. God bless you for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is very distinguished and scholar, a great scholar in the community, the Talmid Mubhak of the great Gaon Hacham Ovadia Yosef Alai Shalom, Rav Shimon Chai Aluf, Bakasha, Rav Gaon.
It's a big zchut for us as a community to show recognition and Hakarat HaTov. In a holiday that's all based on Hakarat HaTov, Chag HaSukkot, we're sitting in the Sukkah to say that we separate ourselves from all the material that we have around. We thank Hashem because we trust Hashem. We have to thank Hashem every day for the blessing that this community is blessed, as Rabbi Meir said, by having Hacham Shaul on our Atara as the crown of this community. I have many hours through the years with Hacham Shaul, his Hanhaga. It's not the time to talk, I know he doesn't like to hear it, and he's here with us. But the blessing is the Pasuk. Bi shishim chokhmah, be'orech yamim teguna. Chokhmah you found in the elderly, the old people. Accumulate chokhmah, especially being for many years as the right hand of his father, our great Chacham, Agaon HaMekubal, Chacham Yaakov. And through the years, complicated issues, small or big, he relates in the same sincerity and concern if it's related to the community, of each and every individual of this community. May Hashem will give Yaakov, Jack, Avital, that had this idea, we should do it a long time ago, to gather us tonight in a quiet way, to show Hacham Shaul how much we love him, how much we thank Hashem for having this blessing with us, and asking in this sukkah, that Hashem will give him long life, בבריאות, בשמחה, בטוב לבב, להמשיך ולעטר את הקהילה, ולעטר את הזקנים הזאת. It is such an honor for our community, when Hashem will bring us together to Ahba ve'Ahba, Shalom ve'Re'ud, Amen ve'Amen.
B'shut Hasaba Shali, all the great rabbis that are here, the dignitaries, great Hazanim, and also the family that's here, to give respect to my grandfather. The greatest respect that I could give to my grandfather is to talk Divrei Torah, and to say something in the Sukkah that will give us an idea of what the holiday of Sukkot is about. Rabbi Mansour started to mention something about the Arba'a Minim. He mentioned about the Arava, which is the weakest of the four. The Etrog represents smell and taste. The Lulav represents taste and no smell. The Hadas is smell, no taste. And the Arava is no taste and no smell. And that represents the Jewish people. The Jewish people are people that have Torah and mitzvot and Ma'asim Tovim. Some have Torah without Ma'asim Tovim, and some have Ma'asim Tovim without Torah, and some are left to decide without anything. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks us to put them all together, to bring everyone together, to unite everybody together, and that is the glory of Hashem. That is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us, to bring everyone together. But I saw a question that I'd like to share. The question is on the Lulav. The Lulav is supposed to be what's represented by a good taste without any smell. But the truth of the matter is, that's referring to the date of the Lulav. But the Lulav that we take, the Lulav that we hold and we shake on Sukkot, there's no taste to that Lulav. So what is that Lulav really representing? Why are we saying the Lulav has a taste? And it represents taste without smell. So to answer that question, I want to mention something else, and it's about the schach that we're sitting under in the sukkah. The Gemara says that the schach that we sit underneath in the sukkah has certain criteria, and the schach is related to the clouds of glory that Hashem enveloped the Jewish people in coming out of Egypt. The schach has to be three different things in order to make it kosher. Schach can't be mekabel tum'ah, and it also has to be something that grows from the ground. And when the Gemara talks about these clouds, the Gemara quotes a pasuk from Bereshit. It quotes a pasuk that's talking about all the way in the beginning. And the pasuk is Ve'ed ya'aleh min ha'aretz ve'yishka et kol penei ha'adama. It's talking about a mist that came from the earth. And because that mist came from the earth, that is the reason why we have
the obligation, the responsibility that the schach has to be from the ground. The schach has to be from the ground, and it comes from that pasuk. And the question is, that pasuk comes from Gan Eden. What's the connection between Gan Eden and Sukkot? Why that pasuk? It should be talking about the pasuk of the clouds that are in Mitzrayim. Why is it talking about that pasuk specifically? So I saw an answer as follows, and this is really the essence of the holiday of Sukkot. The answer that I saw is that we know that the Jewish people, when they received the Torah on Shavuot, they brought us back to Adam Harishon, Adam, the first man, before he sinned. When we got the Torah, we were at the highest possible level. Unfortunately, after that incident of receiving the Torah, the Jewish people made a terrible mistake. They made the mistake of the golden calf. And the golden calf took them back, not to where Adam was before the sin, but for when Adam, like Adam was when he was banished from Gan Eden. And the Jewish people made that mistake, but were forgiven for that mistake on Yom Kippur. On the 10th day of Tishrei, which we just celebrated the holiday of Kippur, that's when the Jewish people were forgiven. And it should have been the perfect time for the Jewish people, after they were granted forgiveness, it should have been the perfect time for them to go into Eretz Yisrael, and that would have been euphoric. That would have been the greatest thing that could have happened, is after they were granted atonement, the Jewish people go into Eretz Yisrael, but they made one more mistake. And that was the mistake of the Meraglim. They made this mistake of the spies, and instead of going into Eretz Yisrael right off of Yom Kippur, they ended up wandering in the desert, and that generation was unable to continue. The holiday of Sukkot, which is the holiday that we're celebrating now, is the follow-up to the day of Kippur. The holiday of Sukkot, the rabbis tell us, is supposed to be our idea of going from Kippur into the Sukkah, going from Kippur into what the rabbis call Gan Eden. The rabbis call coming into the Sukkah the Garden of Eden. And the truth of the matter is, when you walk into the Sukkah tonight, you really feel that idea of the Gan Eden. You feel the idea of the garden, the greens. And that's why we take the lulav and the etrog and the hadashim and aravot, because it represents the idea of Gan Eden. And that really is what we're supposed to be celebrating when we're sitting in the Sukkah, the idea of Gan Eden. So how does this answer my question? My question was, when you have the lulav, it has no taste. It has no taste, so why do we say it has a taste? The answer is, if you look back in the beginning of time, when Adam was in Gan Eden, the pasuk says, Etz peri oseh peri lamino, and Rashi says over there, Sheyeh tam ha'etz, etra'am ha'peri, which means that before, when they were in Gan Eden, the tree tasted like the fruit. The tree would taste like a date. That's what it was beforehand in Gan Eden. Afterwards, it's not like that anymore. So when we bring the lulav on the holiday of Sukkot, what we're celebrating is being as if we're in Gan Eden. The tree of the lulav in Gan Eden tasted like it's fruit did. And that's what we come into the Sukkah and to celebrate. And I just like to say, because this night is in honor of my grandfather, that Sukkot represents coming into Gan Eden, into the Garden of Eden. But it represents being in the presence of Hashem, being under the sail, under the shade of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the way I feel when I'm together with my grandfather. I feel the spirituality. I feel the holiness. I feel the emunah and the bitachon that he emanates and that he gives off. And so that same feeling that Sukkot is supposed to give off, it's appropriate that we're celebrating Sukkot in his honor, because that's the way I feel when I'm in his presence and we're together with him. Our family is very, very fortunate. As Rabbi Yedid said, my grandfather is someone who is very, very genuine and very real. And when you see that as children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that shapes you, it forms you, it guides you, it makes you into who you become. And that's all the credit to our grandfather. Hashem should continue to give him long life. Of course, we thank the hosts for everything they did tonight. And Hashem should take this sukkah and bring it next year in Yerushalayim. We'll celebrate Yom Hanavi Amenu. Amen.
I just wanted to inform the community that the Congress of the United States this afternoon decided to honor the Chief Rabbi and the community, God willing, in May during Jewish Heritage Month. I think this is a long overdue recognition of the growth of the Sephardic community, the Rabbi's accomplishments, and the people. The Congress of the United States feels indebted to leaders who have demonstrated remarkable leadership on behalf of the community. Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Growing up with my father, he taught us a lot of lessons as we grew up together. But one very important message, which is extremely left an indelible imprint on my life, is that he says to us always, let your hand be hand, and let your law be law. Make your yes be yes, and let your no be no. Meaning, always tell the truth. Do not deviate from the truth. And as we grow older, he was teaching us how to be with people. His first thing to us to tell us is that never ever take a side. Don't judge people by what you think. Go into their shoes, become them, and when you start to becoming them and feeling for them, then you can become a good judge, and never ever ever take sides. If you take sides, you are no more qualified to be a judge. So therefore, over the years, as we grow older, we were able to help many families and community issues. I know that my father is fearless. He fears nobody, and he is indebted to nobody. But for everybody, to him, is somebody. Meaning that if you're rich or if you're poor, doesn't make a difference. He'll be there for you to listen to what you need, and you'll find the answers for them. Now I know that many nights he was called upon the middle of the midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they called him to Rabbi and say, please, we need your help now, please come now. He'll get up, middle of his pajamas, and just leave the house to try to take care of the problems. When he came to America in 1934, at that time he was 12 years old. So they only spoke Hebrew, and he was in charge of the family. All the siblings, he was the oldest one in his family. So they put them in public school. You know how long the rabbi lasted in the public school? One day. He said, I can't do this. I can't stay in public school. I have to go to yeshiva. So my grandfather sent him to Ohel Moshe, and from there he went on to become the #1 student of Yeshiva University. We graduated with the biggest honors. We have many issues that happened in the community over the years that my father was the staunchest supporter of those institutions. Many times, for example, we had certain synagogues that the community people in the synagogues were a little concerned about the leader there, and they were afraid to buck the leader and the rabbi. So they went to Rabbi Katz and they said, listen, we're not moving, we're not able to advance, we need your help. He went, he stood up, he protected them. When it came to 1975, when we built the first mikveh in the community, my father went out there, he literally took the baskets of the cement and handed them over to the workers. He didn't want them to waste any time building the mikveh. And when we had other issues in the community, for example, many women complained to the rabbi that on Shabbat they can't visit their families because there's no eruv. He stood up, he spent 6 years working on the eruv to make sure that they would accommodate the people. However, my grandfather was against the eruv in his time, but as my father came and he saw that the need for the eruv is very important, he established it with all the rabbis of the community, It took him 6 years to do it, to make sure that it was not just a Surat Petach, just like a symbol, but it was exactly very strong, something firm that will never break. And when we, years back, when the Sephardic people came from Damascus and from Syria and from Aleppo, my father went and turned to myself and David Hidry, and he told us, listen, I'm giving you an order. I'm not asking you, I'm giving you an order. You go and take every student that comes from Syria, and you're going to put them in the yeshivot. You're not going to put anybody in public school. We went out, a whole group of people, a whole group of committee men, we went out, we collected a lot of funds, and we ended up having to force all the yeshivot to take the children in. And it was a tremendous amount of children. Maybe we had about 1,000 kids, maybe 2,000, I remember. But we had to take in a lot of kids. It cost us a fortune of money to do all this. Then, for example, we had an issue in Florida. In Florida, we had a major issue with a certain person that was a Gad, I don't know if it was a Gad or a Goy, in Florida. My father went and said, called the heads of the community, I want to meet them in Beit Torah. They met in Beit Torah, and we had a major meeting over there. And he told the people, I want that man out of the shul. He's not doesn't belong to us. He's giving them a lot of problems in Florida. So they said, okay, no problem. We'll take care of it. A couple of years later, I spoke to my father. I asked him, what happened with that issue? He says, the issue is gone. The man passed on. So we have no problem with that guy anymore. Everybody in the community turns to Rabbi Kassin for one reason, because he has no fear of anybody. He doesn't think twice about what has to be done in order to take care of a problem. And this is what he taught myself, my brothers, my siblings, and my whole family. And we'll continue his legacy for all times. And thank you very much for coming, and happy holiday.
So I was going to say, Jack, I have to say that he's really a true person. I remember when I was running for office back in 2012, and when there were obstacles, there was only one name, the Syrian community, that came to my mind, and that was Jack Avital and Mrs. Avital. Really someone that I built a friendship with. And he always said, make sure the right thing gets done for our community. And as chair of the Jewish caucus in New York City Council, I'm proud that just over the last few years, several initiatives that affect our community, the Jewish community. And first is that in our public school system, as you know, there are many Jewish children who can't afford tuition in private schools and end up in public schools. So the first time ever in the city history, I was able to allocate a $1 million pilot program to provide kosher and halal food in public schools, and that is in partnership with our New York City Controller, Scott Stringer. So give our Controller a nice round of applause for that. Secondly, if you know, this past summer, I had the first ever New York City separate beach day. And I'll tell you, when I put that out, I got a lot of slack. Liberals from around, not only the country, around the world. And I'm proud to say we had over 1,400 people from our community who went to the beach for the first time ever, and it was totally separate lifeguards, female security on Women's Day, and male lifeguards and male security on Men's Day. And this is a time when we break that barrier and say enough is enough, because we have 51 council members in the New York City Council. We have many elected officials, city, state, and federal. And when you hear people make speeches, what do they talk about? How diverse our district is, how diverse our community is. We speak over 800 languages here in New York City. But if you're going to talk about our diversity and about our cultures, then you better accommodate that diversity. So that's why I'm proud to make sure that here in New York City, it's not the time of the 1950s and 1960s, even the 60s, that there were times when actually Rosh Hashanah, schools were given off. We're now in 2018. In addition to that, New York City sends out exams. People have a difficult time making ends meet. And where there are exams for public jobs, for New York City jobs, and they end up being on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the first 2 days of Sukkot, or the last few days of Sukkot, where it disenfranchises communities from taking these exams, then we need to stand up and do something. Just even locally here in the 61st Precinct, they have what's called neighborhood community officer meetings. It's like the old CPUs, community policing offices, where they invite the community to come in to speak one-on-one with their neighborhood policing officer. 2 dates that were given out. One was on Yom Kippur this year, and the second one was in the first night of Sukkot. And I made sure that those dates were changed. And why does it happen? One reason, one of many reasons why this happens. Because people don't pay attention. City agencies don't pay attention. Then when something falls out on a holiday, now you have to defend yourself no matter what culture or ethnic background you represent. We need to do our job and make it less stressful for people. So that's why I have a bill in the City Council that would mandate New York City to have an online portal calendar that every single New York City agency will have to go on this portal, and if it's a religious holiday, no matter what religion, it will be a blackout date, and it would explain to you why it's blacked out, and then the supervisors can make that decision. And this bill will be introduced over the next few months, and I'm confident with the Speaker of the New York City Council support and my colleagues that this bill will pass in the New York City Council. And all this is in the relationships and partnerships that we have with people living in the community by listening to what the struggles are and what the issues are in the communities that we represent. So I'm proud to represent a beautiful district. I'm proud to say I represent a diverse district. And I'm proud to say that Jack Avital is my friend. Thank you all very much.